Hello, you listen to the Scoutcast on fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. My name's Granville.
My name is John T.
And my name's Jack.
Sorry about that mishap, everybody, but I don't know why. Something went a little bit awry. I don't know what it is. Something feels a little bit different around here.
There's something
Can you feel
missing, Granville. I can't put my finger on it. Have you something different? Have you got a different T-shirt on or something? Or
No. I wore this last week. It's your headphones. It's your headphones.
Yeah, I've got new headphones.
White headphones.
That's it.
No, I know what it is. We've got Jack Wayne.
That's right. We have indeed.
Hello, Jack.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Pleasure to be invited on.
Yeah, good to see you, Jack. For those that haven't been following the top 10 of the Fantasy Premier League game, Jack has been in those higher upper echelons of the Fantasy Premier League game for a number of weeks now. And he's currently number 6, and he's been pushing for that number 1 slot. But at this stage, I do want to say there is something else missing, and I'm going to have to reveal is Mark's not here. So I don't know whether either of you noticed.
Hang on. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's not here.
Where is he?
Well, he's cried off sick, I'm afraid. So he has kindly let the troops take over the Scoutcast, and hopefully won't mess up. Hopefully there'll be no technical glitches, and we can speed through all the regulars. Which, of course, the first one is to have a look at our latest game week. So, yeah, Granville, was it a great game week for you, or not quite such a good game?
No, it was a bit of bobbins, really. I scored 73 this week. Missed opportunity, 2 things. My transfers were Ozil and Giroud. Of course, blank, which was interesting. On top of that, the transfer I could have done was Silva, but again, I was kind of swayed by a double game week player. I thought I'd get in early. Arsenal had a decent fixture. I know City had a better fixture. I still captained Aguero, so it wasn't quite as bad as some people's. I mean, some people were scoring like in the 30s really badly. But then again, people like Tom Fenley scored over 100. I think he scored like 115.
It was one of those make or break weeks. I mean, for me, I did similar to you, really. I took a hit to make 2 transfers. I wanted to get Sanchez in early. I thought that he would get something against Swansea. I wanted him in place. I got Albrighton in as well as a make weight. I basically took my pick of the cheap midfielders. I should have gone Jack Grealish. I should have gone a whole bunch of others. But I had 5 million to spend. And I'll tell you the other the one I was actually going to get, and I didn't. And I'm kicking myself now. It was Ashley Young, which on Friday evening seemed ludicrous. Until he started doing something, and he's actually playing really well. I had just enough money, and I'm really regretting that move because I would have got some nice bit of kudos about that as well. Because no one's got Ashley Young, so that was it really.
I can admit to it. I owned Ashley Young at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, me too.
It was terrible, really, wasn't it? It was awful.
And Jack, now how was your week? Because you're pushing for that number 1 slot. So how did it go for you?
Quite possibly the worst game week of the season. I managed to score 79 points, which on the face of it is pretty respectable. But I decided that this was the week that I was going to gamble and try break Simon March's stronghold of 27 points, and I captained Sanchez, and the rest is history, really. As I sat watching Aguero score, assist, score, and assist again, I realised that was probably the chances of me taking number 1 spot going. And with Sanchez bringing in any attacking points, I think that's fair to say now.
I mean, that was a pretty brave move. You made 2 transfers, Zoe. Who did you bring in?
Yeah, I did Sanchez and Grealish in. I fancied Grealish, but unfortunately, I left him on the bench.
Oh no!
I had 29 points on the bench this week, which I think is a record for myself.
You missed out on the breaking point.
It's so annoying, isn't it, leaving players on the bench? I had a Corey first sub.
Oh, who's not 9 points you got?
And Henderson and Van Arnold. There were just loads of points on the bench.
Yeah.
Who else did you have on your bench, Jack?
I had
Grealish.
Pantilimon in goal, but I played Schmeichel anyway, so it didn't matter.
That's fair enough.
First sub was Grealish, second sub Van Arnholt, and then Duff actually for Burnley. So I think I probably played the correct order. Maybe Grealish should have played instead of Sterling on the back of Sterling's recent form. There's a bit of a toss-up really, so I can't regret that too much. But basically, the captaincy decision was what let me down this week. I'd be on 100 points if I'd gone with Aguero.
Yeah, that was the tough one. I mean, I had bench points as well. Jason Punchin, a regular performer on my bench, not in my main 11, and Jeff Cameron, who defies my pessimism that he will ever get me points, and once again got me some points on the bench as usual. But I mean, since Mark's not here, I mean, I feel we ought to mention his week. In stark contrast, he had a pretty good one. He got 85. Took a hit though, so 81. But he did some good transfers actually. He got rid of Sterling, Ivanovic, and Fabregas, who got 5 points, and he brought in Silva, Vla, and Sanchez. So he has Sanchez in place and 26 points coming in. So it was obviously worked that one out. Even with the hit, he's considerably up there. Plus, he's through. We understand breaking news in terms of the Fantasy Football Scout Cup. He's through to the semi-finals and is set to face Hutton dressed as Lamb. So that's an exclusive for Hutton dressed as Lamb there.
I can't believe he got to the semi-final.
And he also wanted me to mention as well that Faux C is also through to the semi-finals of the Fantasy Football Scout Cup. Plus, he's in the final of the Members' Cup. So this is a rare double that Faux C's going for. So we wish him the best of luck. But I mean, looking at, we've looked at our weeks, we looked at Mark's week, but it's always good to have a look at how some of the community have done as well. So I've got some of these rough with the smooth examples here. So if you do fancy bearing with me, and I'll kind of read a few of these out. So Kozan. This is. I'm going to read out the bad ones first, so make us feel a bit better. Kozan played his two Aston Villa defenders. Wow, that sounds good, except it was Guzan and Hutton. So we got 1 point out of them. And he brought in Benteke, Sanchez, and Koscielny, who brought in 6 points. So I mean, it's the worst version of what we did with our transfers.
Well, I think Benteke was the one that didn't come off. Actually, a lot of people bought Benteke in this week and captained him.
Yeah, there was. I was going to say Paul. I think Paul might have captained him, but I know Paul, who edits the site, he had a pretty bad week, and I think he did that. Moyne is another. He got brought in Benteke and Ramsey. He captained Benteke, so yeah, he's another one. He's pretty much doubled his rank. 60,000 in the world. He's now 113,000. He just says my luck is horrible right now. A couple more of these rough ones. Malanista. He took a 4-point hit to get Sanchez in. He just didn't pay off really, and he. But he did get rid of Henderson and Coutinho. I know Henderson did okay, but you know, I think it probably was time to get rid of the Liverpool midfielders. And Feeling Blue is Feeling Blue. He got another bench saga here. Patrick Van Arnholt, Henderson, a couple on his bench, got about 20 points on his bench. But he did captain Aguero, so he's all right. But some smooth ones here. These are our smooth operators. You mentioned one earlier, Tom Fenley. Now, Tom Fenley, for those that don't know, won the Fantasy Premier League game last year. He was doing okay this year, not great. He was going to play his wild card a couple of weeks ago, and he forgot to press the button. So he ended up taking 52 points worth of hits.
Brilliant.
He's finally played his wild card and pressed the button, and he got 111 points. So that's when you press buttons right. Couple more. Arvination. He brought in Kolarov for a hit, but you know, it's great. You get the kudos there. You get Kolarov is the ultimate kudos player, get him in, and you don't know whether he's going to start. He did, got points. And Mr. Irwin, another one. He dropped Azpilicueta for Kolarov, 103 points. So yeah, pretty good going for these guys there. But we got Jack here. I think it's quite interesting to get someone who's in the top 10. I've never been there. I don't think I ever will. You've never been there either, Granville, and well, maybe.
Well, has Jack been there? Well, Jack, I haven't looked at your record.
Well, let's have a look.
Tell us about your previous seasons.
My previous seasons, basically, I started in the 2011-12 season, halfway through. A few of my friends in my university hall set it up, and as anyone who's looked will see, my rank I think was over 2 million, something silly like that. Starting halfway through the season is never going to be great. But the subsequent 3 seasons that I've played it, I've taken it very seriously. I've researched a lot, I've put a lot of time into it, and 32,000 the season after, 9,600 last year, and now this year it's gone a bit to the nosebleed territory.
Yeah.
So looking back,
unfortunately, you've got next season where I doubt that you're going to beat this season. So
yeah,
this is the peak. Enjoy it whilst you're up there.
No, exactly. I think I saw Evs posting about it, that the season he finished, I think he was 5th, and after that he said he had his chance of winning it, and I don't believe he's enjoyed it really as much since, and I feel that could be the same way I go, because like you just said, Granville, I'll never be top 10 again, and it's.
Jude, have you got other motivations? And so you live in a shared house with you're a lawyer. You live in a shared house with other lawyers.
Yeah, I'm law students at the moment.
Law students, and so you had to look this up, but we mentioned that it was a reenactment of This Life, the TV show that launched the career of Andrew Lincoln and others. And you are a young man, so you've had to look that up. But it was a great TV show. But your housemates also play fantasy football, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. There's a few of us, and it's sort of how I started into it. A few friends back in university halls, but yeah, we all have a mini league going, which I think, to be honest, they were a bit fed up because I've won it every year, and this year it's not even been competitive. But we watch all the games together. This week on Saturday even, we did the match of the day challenge. So, which took a huge amount of willpower for me when I'm currently ranked 2nd in the world and got 3 Leicester assets.
So did you have to watch Aguero's goals go in for the first time with your?
No, that the Sunday I had the flash scores going. But
Sunday,
on the Saturday I actually was in the library all day. I gave my phone away to my girlfriend, didn't take a laptop, and had absolutely no knowledge of anything football related until 10:45 on Saturday. And although the games weren't the biggest, it was still pretty exciting. Simon March had Kane playing. I had my 3 Leicester assets who performed well for me. But yeah, it was a interesting day. And then Sunday was just.
But you still presumably you still have that competitive spirit with your housemates next season.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still intending to play it. I may even look at playing some of the other games because I only currently play Fantasy Premier League and Ultimate. But I may delve into maybe looking at the Sky game, having listened to a few of the guys speak about it on here. I've never looked at it before.
I think you do well. I've been looking at your kind of game week history this season. You did something that I've never done either. You started off with game week 1, overall rank 2,812. I mean, you started off great. I mean, the lowest you've been this season is 28,000. I mean, I usually start about 1 million.
Yeah.
And then work my way up slowly. I mean, what else has happened differently this season, do you think? What have been the key differences this year?
I think there's a few. I think I've made a conscious effort not to take hits and to try save 2 transfers up. I've just got my transfers up right now, and I think I've taken 5 hits all season. I know, which is more than a few of the top 10, but it's not a massive amount compared to what I used to take. And also, there's quite a few instances of taking 3 or 2 transfers throughout the season. And I just think the flexibility that gives me as a manager is something that is definitely something I've tried to make sure I do. Save a transfer. It means you don't jump onto some bandwagons that were 1 week ones, and you think about it a bit longer, assess, and there's also flexibility in juggling prices with an extra transfer. and I know it probably sounds like I've been told to say it, but actually it's the first year I signed up for membership.
Good lad.
Mark didn't tell me to say this.
Checks in the post. Checks in the post.
Yeah.
I do. I personally, I do like the carryover transfers, and I particularly like it when you carry over when you've got transfers to carry over, but you still use the one, and you carry it over from week to week, and you just wait until until you know you're gonna have a bad game week, and then you can splash out with the two transfers. But quite often it doesn't work as well. There's times when I've waited, I've saved the transfer and I shouldn't have. So it doesn't always work out. But I think the flexibility of having it, I think is great. It's one of the best rules that they introduced over the last few years.
Yeah, it's something I haven't managed. I've been too quick to make transfers. I've probably taken more hits this season than I ever have. Especially as the season's gone on, I've kind of achieved what I want. Can't achieve the other things I want, so take a few hits. But what do you think? I mean, I've got a question about what's gone right this year, but what's kind of gone wrong? And it sounds odd to say what's gone wrong, but what do you think is the difference between you and Simon March, who's known as Dufflinks on our site and is number one? What's that edge that he's got, do you think?
I think the edge comes down to the fact that he's been leading and has had a 30-point lead on anyone behind him, and it's meant that he has been able to play safe, and progressively, week after week, someone has had to take a gamble in an attempt to catch him up. The week before, I believe it was Jeff Ryan, who was fourth, but this week didn't even have Aguero and is now plummeted.
Wow.
I think 34th now, and that was part of his gamble. He decided he couldn't have Aguero. I'm not sure how wise that was in hindsight. And he took the gamble last week, captain Benteke, and he gained massively, whereas this week it's failed. For me, I had to gamble, and I believe second, third, fourth are going to have to gamble again this week. And
I mean, one of our posters, the Fantasy Freak, is number 2, so he's particularly keen on knowing what you've got to say. But so the advice on catching Simon is, unfortunately, he's got to take a risk. He's got to go all or nothing. He can't just copy him because he's got that gap. So
I don't think so. Yeah, I was 27 points behind last week, which is exactly what Fantasy Freak is now. And I worked out I needed 9 points a week and still believed I needed to gamble. And he's now got 27 in 2 weeks. And with Simon March's team set up like it is very well for this double game week, I personally think he's going to have to gamble. He's going to find a differential captain. Maybe look slightly sideways left field to get in a few differentials maybe. But
as it happens, I think this double game week, because it's Arsenal and because there's so many players who could score from Arsenal, I think there is actually a chance of actually making up some points.
Yeah.
I think it's quite unusual because most people, I know in the last double game week we had Chelsea in there, and there's not really that much choice with Chelsea. Maybe the choice between Ivanovic and Terry, but the others were just, I think, pretty standard. It was Hazard, Ivanovic, Terry, who else? And maybe Fabregas, but it didn't work out. But I think with Arsenal, I think you've got about 6 players you could get.
Yeah, probably more. It's because we don't know whether Welbeck's going to play. And we'll come to this a bit later. I've got some stats to wow you with. But when Welbeck plays, he's actually pretty handy. And we don't know about Jack Wilshere as well. So these all could be good differentials here.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at all aboard then. If unless you wanted to ask Jack anything else about his.
No, I was just gonna quickly say just talk about Mark, because he's in this situation where he is looking to get the top 100, and I think he's about 170 or something. I think for him to do that, he's going to have to take a risk, and I think I spoke to him today about it, and I think he is going to take a risk to try and get a differential in the double game week. So that'd be interesting to see whether he does or not.
Talking about Welbeck.
Yeah, he's also been talking about Wilshere as well. So we'll see. It's a bit of a gamble, but I think I don't think he's got that much to lose.
I think such a high rank.
It's sort of the philosophy I was at. I realised that I got a 30-point lead on number 10, and for me, I'm a competitive guy. I wanted to win it. I didn't see a huge amount of difference between second and ninth, or I was at that stage looking at a good top 10 finish. So I gambled, tried to win it, and it backfired.
Yeah. I think you did. I think you did the right thing.
Yeah, I think you had to.
Just quickly, I might as well talk about my own situation.
Okay.
My aim is to get into the top 10,000, and it's been a bit. The last couple of weeks have been a bit difficult, but I'm 8 points off the top 10,000. And really, I needed to get silver really to get in there, but now I'm kind of like I'm a bit nervous about it because I should really be in there with the double game week, but I mean, who knows? On the last game week, anything can happen.
I think at the top 10,000 level, I think if you play it reasonably safe. So by reasonably safe, I mean captaining an Arsenal player, obviously.
Yeah.
Probably Sanchez.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't go there now because I've already taken I already got Özil in.
Well, I don't think that would be. That's not a risk. I would consider that fairly safe, and as long as you've got the numbers in of Arsenal players. That's why I've got 3 attacking Arsenal players. There's so many of them that it just lowers the percentage. But let's have a look at all the ball because that brings us into that. So the transfers in, top of the pile, Sanchez. No surprise there, is it really? 32,000 in. Next to Foe, which did surprise me a little, 22,000. So I reckon that's probably a few Kane ditches. Cazorla in at number 3, then Giroud. Aguero, there's still people without Aguero, so there's 19,000 getting him in. Gomez coming in, Van Aanholt, these, and then Silva, and then a bunch of Arsenal defenders.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, Aguero is obviously had a spanking week. He's only got 28% ownership, but he must have high ownership in the top 10. I didn't move up much.
I haven't looked at ownership outside of the top 10,000 because I tend to look at that even wherever I am in this stage of the season because I think these are the most active players and I think these are the ones I want to be either within or beating. I'm not too interested in who's at 2 million. Well, unless of course I'm 2 million.
I mean, the interesting thing really is that Defoe has got an ownership of 1.5%. And Gomez is 1%. And Van Aanholt is 3.7%. So I actually think that Sunderland players are worth having this week because of their ownership.
I think so.
Twice. They've got it all to play for, except that they can get a draw. I mean, I think if they get a draw with, is it Leicester they're playing?
Yeah.
They get a draw with Leicester, that might be enough. That worries me.
Could be. Well, we've got some questions from the community around these players. So, I mean, I'll package up the Sunderland questions. We've got Suarez Ista has asked, best Sunderland striker, Coutinho, best Sunderland midfielder, and Doolittle asked whether Sunderland players are worth the hit. So, in anticipation of these questions, I earlier came up with a bit of a table looking at Sunderland's assets. So we can have a look at, over the last 6 game weeks, who's been performing. Okay. So, by the same token. So once again, like all my tables, shots in the box. I think it's the best way to score goals. Top after last 6 game weeks is Wickham. He's got 10 shots in the box, and then Defoe on 6. They both got 4 shots on target, so very similar shooting accuracy there. Wickham creates a few more chances, a few more crosses. So if you're going to be looking at a Sunderland striker, I would probably advise Wickham over Defoe based on the stats. And then looking down the list, we've got a bit further down. Van Aanholt is 4th highest for shots in the box. It's not many, 4. So Sunderland are not piling the shots in at the moment. But so Van Aanholt definitely by miles the pick of the defenders. And then next up we've got Gomez there. So he's got, already got those 2 goals there. 7 chances created over the last 6. Not that many shots in the box. This fella's not going to get. He's on penalties, so that's in there. He creates chances. He could get you some assists. I think if you're going to be looking at a midfielder, I think forget Larson, forget all the others. I think Gomez is your one. Yeah. But I noticed as well the Billy Jones is creeping into their shots on target as well. Not much, but if you want an uber differential, But yes, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about
I
Sunderland players.
Wickham's 1% ownership, by the way. So these are all kind of very low ownership players. If they do something over 2 game weeks, you could be quids in. Pantilimon's the other one as well, which you forgot to mention. And I think he'll be quite popular because he's probably owned by many people for weeks and weeks. And I can't really see anyone else. What do you think, Jack?
I think one of the questions is, are Sunderland players worth a hit? And personally, I wouldn't be looking to take a 4-point hit for any of the Sunderland players. I don't think the fixtures are worthy of that, and I don't think their returns over the past few weeks deserve a hit almost. So I wouldn't personally be hitting for it. But then again, I'm in a slightly different position that I know who my sort of immediate rivals are and what their teams are. I guess if you're chasing a mini league and you're 15, 20 points in it, then it could work out for you. I agree that I think you need some Sunderland players to get double game week just to almost cover if necessary. You mentioned that Pantilimon's going to be owned by a lot of people. Van Arnholt's going to be highly owned in defence. And I think if you don't have a defender, you're going to be losing points.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the stats actually don't back it up because the Pantilimon is only 3.9% ownership. I guess that's not too bad for a goalkeeper, but Van Arnold is actually surprising. He's only 3.7, so I think they're just not highly owned, but there may be top 10k. I imagine they're more highly owned, particularly Van Arnold.
I mean, moving on to Arsenal, so we mentioned a few of the Arsenal players there, so we've got a whole bunch of questions there. So Andy85 asks about with Giroud, is he now a case of don't sell, don't buy? And RVP, not the actual RVP, asked, with Arsenal getting caught out by Swansea, do we think Wenger will play it more cautiously there? So, I mean, what's your take on the Arsenal assets? I mean, are both of you going with 3 players from Arsenal?
I've got the 3 already.
Yeah.
Ospina, Giroud, and Ozil.
And
Sanchez, unfortunately.
No Sanchez. And Jack, who have you?
I will be. I've currently got Giroud and Sanchez. So, in respect of, I think it's Andy's question, I wouldn't be selling him at this stage. If you've got him, keep him. And yeah, I will be getting a 3rd Arsenal player. Again, I've not decided who I'll be going for. I think it's a bit of a shot in the dark, but I'll do a bit more research.
Let me help you out. I've done a bit of research. So here's some more stats. Last 6 game weeks again, sorted by shots inside the box, consulting the members' tables in our on Fantasy Football Scout. And so, yes, having a look, shots inside the box, absolutely no surprise. Top there, Sanchez. So Sanchez is getting crosses in, he's creating chances, he's getting shots in the box. Number 2 is Cazorla. Now, this actually did surprise me. 11 shots inside the box last 6 game weeks, 9 chances created. I would probably perhaps recommend Cazorla as a 3rd attacking player right now. I myself have Giroud, Sanchez and Ramsey. I'm happy with Sanchez and Ramsey. Ramsey's coming in at 10 crosses, 8 shots inside the box last 6, and obviously goals and assists he's got there. I mean, he looked great last night, I've got to say. He constantly looks threatening and like he's going to score. Giroud's behind him. He's pretty. He's just basically a lump at the moment up top, getting in people's way and getting others in there. I can only hope he's going to do something, but I think Sanchez. It's there, the top 3: Sanchez, Cazorla, Ramsey. If you're going to go for 3 attackers, I reckon maybe. Now Özil's in there. Now, Granville, you've got Özil. Now, there's some good news for Özil fans. Chances created, 18. That's double anyone else in Arsenal. He's the most creative player. He's the top corner taker, top crosser by miles. His shots inside the box is low though. So I think with Özil, you're going to if Arsenal can pile a few goals in, Özil has every chance of getting 2 or 3 assists. So, and bonus. So this is what you want for a double game week. Does that make you feel happy?
No, not. I mean, I watched the game last night on Monday night, and no, not really. They just huffed and puffed. I mean, the thing is with Ozil is that I don't think he had a very good game actually, and he kind of just knocking the ball. He looks good on the ball, obviously, but when it comes to actually threat, I didn't see anything from him. I thought Sanchez had all the threat.
Yeah.
And Ramsey, but you never know. You never know. Things turn around so quickly. I remember a few weeks ago when I had Sanchez. I got him back in because he was injured for a while. I got him back in, and he didn't do anything. And Ozil was scoring all the points. It was just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Having spent a transfer getting an Arsenal player back in, the Arsenal player got back in, didn't do anything. So I can't get it right with Arsenal. The beginning of the season, I had Giroud, he didn't do anything. And I had Sanchez for a while, and actually I did actually quite well with him. But since then, it's just been awful. And it looks like I've got Giroud in for his bad form again. What can he do?
I don't know. We spoke about this last week with Giroud. He does this, and then something happens. I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's someone criticising him. I bet Wenger's not going to be doing that, because Wenger's doing exactly what he's doing exactly what Wenger's telling him to do. Get in the way, look pretty, and then let everyone else score around you. It didn't work out against Swansea, but Swansea played a good game. But I mean, looking at transfers out, we mentioned Harry Kane, a lot going out. I mean, that's he's got a good fixture, but I think people are going for the Sunderland assets there.
Yeah,
and top of the pile, Hazard. So we've got a couple of questions. Supersonic and Beavis. Is it time to say goodbye to Hazard? Surely, if you're trying to bring Sanchez in, but Jack, what's your take? You've got Hazard at the moment. You keeping, and what are you doing with him?
I'm undecided at the moment about who my transfer out is going to be. I guess it will come down to Hazard or Sterling. If I go for the Arsenal midfielder, I'd obviously keep Sanchez and Silva. I think Mourinho's comments at the end of the game were interesting. He seems to be suggesting he's going to go with the youngsters. He mentioned a few of them. One, I think, plays in defence, one midfielder or striker. So he suggests he's going for the youngsters, and Hazard's played a lot, could be rested. But again, it is a risk. That final game of the season. Do they play Sunderland final game? I think
Sunderland,
yes.
If Sunderland are safe.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Granville? What are you going to do with Hazard?
I think I've got other fish to fry, really. The thing is, because I've got two Liverpool midfielders, I can't see me getting rid of Hazard before I get rid of Sterling or Henderson. The thing is, this week, I have to play my Liverpool players, I think, at home to Crystal Palace. And Chelsea against West Brom, West Brom quite mean in defence. We don't know who's going to be playing, of course, but I think I have to keep hold of those Liverpool players. But I think my transfer is going to probably be Vardy out for Defoe or Wickham. And I could take a risk of getting Gomez. I probably won't, though. Just looking at the fact that they're playing Leicester and they only need a draw, it just, to me, it just shouts 0-0.
I think with I've got Hazard, I've got Sanchez, so I don't have to make that move. I'm almost convinced, as Jack was saying, I'm 99% certain Hazard will be rested. I also think it's likely he'll come on. I just hope that if he is rested, he remains rested, so that whoever we've got on our bench, in my case, someone like Jason Puncheon or Jeff Cameron can come on. But the thing is, it's game week 38. Now, this is their final game. They're at home, aren't they, Chelsea, game week 38? Mourinho has already said his team. He says he's going to pick the team that's won the league. This is they're going out. So Hazard. Oh,
he said that, has he? Right.
Yeah. Hazard will be rested, and he's going to be, he's going to be buoyed up. He's getting all the awards, all the plaudits. In you come against a team with absolutely nothing to play for, who basically are a championship side anyway, in the way they played this season. I would, if I got rid of him, I'd just want him back again.
But then that raises another question: are you going to actually play him this week? You're going to play Hazard this week?
Now that's the thing. I don't know if I did, it would be for something like Jeff Cameron. Almost every ounce of my being is.
You haven't got the cojones to do that.
I don't have. See now. Jack's got. What was it? The kahunas you were about to say. Jack's got them. He captained Sanchez when Aguero were playing QPR because he needed to make me. Now, if I was 5th, 4th, 2nd in the world, and I was in your position, Jack, I probably still wouldn't have done that, even though I should have.
You would. You would.
No, I might.
Because you'd have come on here, and me and Mark would have been getting on at you, and
your mind games.
It wouldn't have been mind games because I mean, if you're up in the top, if you're in the top 10, we want you to blooming well win it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like we do with Jack. How far behind are you, Jack? Now
I'm now 40 points behind. It's too far now. It would have been 19, and I think I'd have stood a slim chance. But I think it had to be under 20 going into the final 2 game weeks.
Yeah. I think you're right there.
But you want to aim for top 10. Maybe that's the. That's your target, really, to stay in the top 10.
Yeah.
You could get top 5, top 10, I think is, yeah.
Just jumping in on something Granville said there about removing Vardy for a Sunderland striker. I've got Vardy in my team, and he's quite a differential in the top 10. I was just wondering your thoughts on this, because Leicester's fixtures are pretty incredible, Sunderland and then QPR on the final day. And I'm a bit hesitant considering his stats and how strong he has been performing.
My only hesitation with Vardy is that he's carrying this foot injury that he keeps having injections for. If Leicester go into, I mean, would it be right in saying Leicester can quite easily go into game week 38 safe? Yeah. With these, I say minor teams. With all due respect to Leicester, minor teams, as in they've got small squads. There has been a bit of rotation up front, but there's a few players amongst squad players, and I think that's usually the chance for them to play. So my feeling is that there isn't really a particularly safe player with Leicester. I mean, you would think Vardy would be, but I could see him getting rested. So I can certainly see the attraction for removing him, but. Yeah, it's different positions, isn't it, for different people? I mean, as you said, Vardy is a differential for you. You can always bench him, or he might not play at all in game week 38. What
would be the point in resting him for what?
No, it's not. When I say rest, I mean as an opportunity to rotate, as in bring in one of the squad players that hasn't played much in his place. And giving his chance to. When I say rest, I mean if he's carrying a foot injury and there's nothing to play for, then why continue risking putting him through pain? So yeah, when I say rest, I basically mean rotation because of giving other players an opportunity.
Yeah, it's another one of those tricky ones. I've got Cambiasso as well, who hasn't done anything to go in. I'll be keeping one of them for the QPR game.
Yeah, that's wise.
It's not sure. I can't see. I have to. I think with Sunderland, I think the choice between Gomez or a striker. I think I've got to go for the striker.
Yeah, I think so. When we looked at those stats there, someone like Wickham, Defoe. I mean, they are putting the shots away in the box. You know, they've got a chance. We've seen them score against anyone as well. Wickham in particular. But let's have a look at some of our scout leagues then. So I'm going to kind of go through these. I know Mark usually gets these, likes to get these in. So I mean, we first start with our Fantasy Football Scout, our FPL league. Obviously we've been talking about him all this time. Simon March, Dufflinks in at number 1. We've got Kev Glebe at number 2. And Marius Freisterberg. I don't know whether Mark has problems pronouncing that, but I certainly do. But anyway, he's third there. And overall, obviously, Dufflinks there. We've got Fantasy Freak. He is number 2. And obviously Jack there, number 6. So, you know, and in the members, once again, obviously Dufflinks there. The brilliantly named team of Lalanas in Pyjamas, Killian Long. Is in second there, and Greg Clarkson third. And here's the name, Andrew Gibson, otherwise known as Green Windmill. He's 4th in the members league in Fantasy Football Scout, and he's well tucked into the top 100. Now over in the Ultimate, Damien Lindell in our league is number 1, Malanista, number 2, and Detroit 442. That's Sean Tobin's team, number 3. And Jack, you wanted to mention something about Ultimate. Ultimate's a game that you're playing at the moment, and you've had a pretty good month. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I was just saying to Mark actually on the preparation for this yesterday how actually I've played that this season as well, and as a slight consolation, I guess, to not winning the overall game, I'm currently actually leading the charts for May, which I think is £1,000 prize, and I'm 1 point up on, I think his name's Pat Mebir, who's actually winning the overall game in Ultimate. So I'm focusing on that as well actually at the moment, but my team's okay, I think, set up, so
I see, like,
you got some. It might be the opportunity to do a couple of loans for those double game week players.
Well, my team's actually I created this one just 2 weeks ago, set up for these final 4.
Did you?
There's a slight loophole in the rules at the moment where you can have multiple teams set up. So I've got the 4 Sunderland, I've got the 4 Arsenal, and it's something that a fair few people have done. Some guys won, I think, 2 months in a row.
I see.
So it's just a
set up just for that month. Yeah, got it.
Because you can have multiple accounts per person. It's
of course. Do you know what? It didn't even occur to me.
Fiver, isn't it? It's just a fiver.
It's worth doing though, because it's fun. But yeah, and the Sky game, a game that you mentioned you might play next year, Jack. Jeff Pryor is number 1 in our league, number 1 overall as well. Katie Bergin, who we've flagged up for, is the only one to actually reveal her team. And she's 3rd overall, and Stephen Adams is 2nd overall there, and Kevin Anderson is 3rd in our league in Sky. Over to have a look at the weekend preview. Now, I don't know, Granville, have you had a chance to have a look at the fixtures coming up? Have you got any clean sheets in mind?
I'll do it now.
Yeah,
let's have a look. It's difficult this time of the year. I mean,
you mentioned Sunderland, Leicester, 2 teams that need a draw.
Absolutely. I think I'll go for Sunderland and Leicester there, a 0-0 draw. It's going to be one of those stitch-ups like, was it Austria versus West Germany in 1982? Or what was it, Norway, Denmark against Sweden?
Yeah.
The Euros. That was actually a 2-2 game, and it was very entertaining, but both decided to need the draw.
What do you think about, because Hull, the other team that could go down, are playing Spurs, and Spurs are literally doing everything they can to avoid being in the Europa League.
Right, it's costing us 2 years.
They cannot do. I mean, they're throwing games like you won't believe. Surely Hull are going to be doing, They've got to watch their back. They've got to be careful, Sunderland, Leicester. If one of them nicks a goal and Hull go rampant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, basically, we're looking at the teams who are fighting relegation. I mean, Hull are in the bottom 3. Newcastle are the other team in danger.
Yeah.
And they go to QPR. I think that could be a big scoring game. That
it could do. They are both truly terrible sides.
Yeah, and you just think, well, QPR got nothing to lose. Newcastle are going to be attacking them. They're going to leave space at the back. I think I'd like to have one. I'd like to have a QPR Newcastle player, but I'm not going to have any, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Where else is this clean sheet coming from? It's difficult to see it. I can't see Liverpool. They're terrible at keeping clean sheets at the minute. I guess that Arsenal at home to Sunderland will be the other one.
What do you think about Chelsea are going to be playing a lot of their youth players. It could be Solanke. They could have play up front. There's Izzy Brown as well, could play in the role. They're going to have and West Brom, we've seen against the big sides, have caused quite a few surprises. In many a time, I've looked at Dawson's points on the bench when they've been playing a side. Do you think there's a hope there for West Brom against Chelsea? Maybe
it's just a dead rubber game, really. I keep clear. If I was betting on any of these games, I'd keep clear of any of these teams that got nothing to play. You just don't know you just don't know which way it's going to go.
So, I mean, overall, it looks potentially good for Sunderland defenders. So that could be good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I must admit, I agree with you. I can't see any. What about Jack? Can you see any other clean sheets there we might have missed?
No, I think it's slim pickings this weekend, actually. Could be a lot of goals. Southampton don't look like keeping them at the moment, but earlier on in the season, Southampton Villa would have been almost a dead cert. No, I agree with Gramble on this one. I can't see many.
No. We've got some questions for the community. We're kind of round it up and get some of these questions in. So you two up for it? Got your kind of thinking caps on. Now I like this one because this has got a bit of football romance to it. This is from Sushant20. Could Steven Gerrard turn out to be a serious differential for the last 2 game weeks? I'm gonna say yes. I think his entire team are going to be geared up to getting him scoring. I think this is Steven Gerrard's moment. But I don't know about you two. But tempted?
I think have to agree. Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what you're going to do though, you're not going to buy him in now, are you? With a double game week coming up.
No.
Just like last game week, they're away. Who are they playing the last game week? They're away from home.
Stoke away.
Yeah.
So it's just got to be this game against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I've seriously considered him as a differential.
Yeah.
I don't think I can quite bring myself to do it.
Another in the same. I mean, Kings of Leon asks, who will be the best single game week player during the double. I think Gerrard has the potential. If he can get a goal and an assist, he does well for bonus. Another one, I think, Mata. Now I know they're playing Arsenal, but as we've discovered, Mata is now on penalties. And Manchester United, I got a sense that they're coming back a little bit. It's going to depend on Rooney. I think Rooney got injured, so if he comes back. But Mata, I think, is another one of these players, a bit like Gerrard, could possibly be a handy little player to have. I don't know, Jack, is Mata someone you'd considered?
No, Mata hasn't actually really been a consideration at the moment. I feel Man United without Carrick are a big sort of a no-no for me at the moment, actually. But maybe it's something I'll have a look at. I'll do some stats research on it. Differential-wise, though, my focus had been on Gerrard before I saw this question, and I could see myself in the final game even captaining him. So.
Wow. What about you, Gramble? Because of being a Manchester United fan, any Manchester United players appealing? I mean, I mentioned Ashley Young earlier. Just mentioned Mata. Anyone there for a bit of a punt?
I guess Fellaini as well. Anything that's valued might be worth it. But the fixtures. I mean, United are playing. Is it Hull? Last game of the season? Yeah, they're playing Hull last game of the season. Hull are going to be fighting for their lives. United should be. I mean, they're almost in fourth now anyway. They only need 1 point, and the goal difference is probably too much anyway. I'm not sure, but I think the trouble you may get rotation as well. United aren't playing that well. I know he's saying that okay, they won the game last week, and they might spur them on a little bit, but no, it's been a disappointing last few games.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you can have any United player, then Mata, yeah. But I don't think there's any time really. I don't think there's any.
No.
We just have to. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, just moving on to kind of looking a little bit ahead of next week, because it links in with this week. Is something Andy85 asks about how much we should be thinking about game week 38 with our game week 37 planning. I guess he's asking this because Sunderland have a pretty dire fixture against Chelsea, and also we mentioned about Hazard as well. I'd be happy to ditch Hazard game week 37. Game week 38, he looks essential. So I mean, I'm already thinking like that. Same with you, Jack. Are you thinking game week 38 already?
Yeah. Fortunately, I think the double game week falls at Arsenal. Have got West Brom on the final day, so you can keep your Arsenal assets. But yeah, what you mentioned about Hazard and what I mentioned earlier about Vardy, if he did play the final day, I've noted that he's got QPR, so it's something worth considering, definitely. And so, yeah, I think you do have to look ahead.
Granville, you?
Yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, I'd be considering getting another. I've got Ivanovic and Hazard at the minute. They're playing Sunderland. If Sunderland is safe, if they're safe, last game of the week, and I think they're likely to be safe. I can only see like a big Chelsea victory.
Yeah, I think so.
An interesting question on that one. What striker would play that game? Because Mourinho has said he's going to play the team that's won in the league pretty much. And if Sunderland are safe, there could be an interesting punt potentially on Remy if Remy's the one that starts. I know a few people have been burned already with a Remy transfer, but if Sunderland are safe, as Granville says, Chelsea striker could be an interesting one.
I'm not sure I'd go near Remy, to be honest with you.
No. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't know about Costa. I mean, he's kind of back, kind of not back. Will he get a run out there just because for a bit of old time's sake? If he's not going to exacerbate an injury, it's quite tough. I mean, let's just wrap it up. Really, looking at game week 37. Both of you have kind of touched on. I guess Jack, you probably want to keep your cards close to your chest. You've said kind of what you're thinking of, but you probably don't want to be giving away too much of your. Is there any hints you want to give, or just kind of keep it? We're happy for you.
Don't. Keep it to yourself.
No. Okay, that's good. Well, Granville, you've mentioned a bit, so just remind us again. What's your thinking for game week 37?
If he's a Sunderland player, it'd have to be for Vardy. I am reluctant now on listening to Jack there. He's had a great season. I shouldn't really ignore any advice that Jack comes up with. So the alternative is to get Gomez in midfield, but I'm not that fussed really. I do have to. I've got this one transfer I've got to spend on a Sunderland. Maybe another defender. What about that? That'll be.
Yeah,
this is the thing. It could, as I said, they've got this game against Leicester, which I can see it being a 0-0. I can, but then they've got the difficulty of that game against Arsenal. I
know it's
really important for me if I want to get in the top 10,000.
Yeah, I mean, I'm outside of the top 2,000 now. I'd like to be in the top 1,000. I don't think that's going to be possible, but I'd like to just get as high as I can. I'm looking at a Sunderland player. I already have Pantilimon. I've got my 3 Arsenal already, so I'm happy there. Got Giroud, Sanchez, and Ramsey. I'm looking at. It's basically going to be Gomez or Van Aanholt. It's as you were saying. What that comes down to is: do I think one of the teams will concede a penalty, or do I think there'll be there's a clean sheet going for Sunderland against Leicester? I mean, the thing I have is that Leicester have just been so attacking in recent weeks. My first thought of that, but now you start thinking about the 0-0 could leave them both safe. And will Arsenal play it safe as well? They're looking for seconds. I don't know. So yeah, it's one of those two. Part of me, the risk-taking version of me, which doesn't exist, involves Ivanovic and Punchin out for a hit for Silva and Van Aanholt, leaving me with quite a nice game week 38 team as well, and Silva, and a cost of 4 points. But no Ivanovic for game week 38. I don't know. That's still a potential, but
I mean, Ivanovic could be seriously. He could be playing in the box all game game week 30.
Yeah,
you know what he's like.
Yeah, he would be. And the thing about Silva as well, I've spoken lots of times about Silva's is my arch nemesis. You've got to have him in all the time or get rid of him. And what do I do every season? I get him in, take him out, get him in, take him out. I get some of his point hauls, I miss some, and I never learn. Silva, you just get him in game week 1 and just leave him there until he gets injured. Take him out when he gets fit, get him back in. So yeah, I feel I'd be giving in to Silva there. He's won and I've lost. But anyway, Jack, it's been great having you on, and Granville as ever, and it's been a little different without Mark. So
well, this is the first ever Scoutcast that he's missed.
Really?
Ooh. I mean, I missed those couple a few weeks ago, but this is So he's gone 160 Scoutcasts straight and couldn't make it to 100. It's like those baseball players who play, like hundreds of games straight, and don't miss one. But unfortunately, he's missed one. He didn't mind. He didn't say, "Oh, don't do it." He said, "Go ahead."
He foolishly trusts us.
He wanted us to mess it up. I think that was the thing. He's probably sat there going, "Oh, they're going to make a right cock up and make me look good." But I think we've done all right.
I think we've done okay. We've carried it on. But And then on that lovely note, I think it's time we say goodbyes. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.